before then. And I wasn't a quitter. I maxed them out. And you can tell when you go to work one day and you say, what's next? And the boss looks at you like, huh? If you finish what I told you to do, and it's like, okay, it's time for me to leave because you don't have something else for me to do. And it's okay. But I maxed out, I learned what I learned, and I knew wherever I was going to take that with me. And so when I came into to financial services, it was very easy for me to think about Jesus and how he spoke in parables, and realize that one of the biggest problems is effective communication. You know, I don't care how great of a leader you are, if you can't communicate, you're gonna have problems. And since I had grown up and had experienced so many things, my ability to, my people skills, I call it peopleology, the study of people. I know, it's gonna be in a dictionary somewhere. The study of people, you know. And so I began to understand that you just gotta meet people where they are. And give them what they don't have, and most of them is direction. What I did is I got a mentor at that time. I worked part-time, understood how it worked, and then at some point I got to the point where I said, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to make that transition. 3 months while I was getting married, I said, I'm ready to make that transition. My wife said, what? My fiance said, what? Her mother-in-law especially said, what? What is he doing? Now? And but it was a step of faith. I knew my work ethic, and I knew that if I could work part-time and make $2,000 a month, which is $24,000, well, I didn't finish the story. I was making $18,000 in 1979. When I started at television station, the starting salary was $13,500.
What?
Now you got to keep in mind this was years later. You know, so because you remember it's 40 years later, and I started off at $13,500. By the time I left television, I was making about $21,000. So working part-time and making $25,000, in my mind, that's 2 days a week. If I work 4 days, I'll make what? $2,000. It's math. And also it's belief. I mean, I believed in the company, what we were doing, I believed in the concept, and I believed in me, I believed in God. How can I fail? And so from that point, we struck out and we went after it, and it worked out.
Talking about a leap of faith, and when I think about numbers, 3 is complete.
Yes.
When you think about 3, and so 3 months before you're married,
yes,
you made all these pivotal moves.
Woo.
That really propelled you. And it seems as if when I speak to all the different entrepreneurs,
yes,
they took some sort of leap of faith, something that was, many people would say, a little radical.
Right.
Like, should you do that? Is that really radical? But that move shaped your whole life and changed the trajectory of your family.
Yes.
And so when I think about your leadership, the type of leadership that it would take to do that, and then you having the experience of being an effective communicator, I see that you have, you was a national sales director, and also you with the African American Council, the Leadership Council. So how would you use that experience and leverage that in order to impact the people that you are now helping in the financial industry?
Well, you've said it. Everybody needs a trainer. See, if you want to lose weight and you're not losing weight, you probably don't have a trainer, you don't have the direction, and you don't know exactly what to do. So when it comes to money, many people make emotional decisions. But money is not emotional, so you shouldn't make emotional decisions. We've discovered that with your own money, you'll make emotional decisions, but with other people's, you won't. So what it comes down to is you bring me your problems and I'll show you how to solve them. Because it's not emotional, it's math. It's just simply putting the dots where they need to be and showing you how to follow the directions to get it done. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so when that happens, you feel better, the confidence is up, and now you're ready for the what? Next challenge. So we set it up so you have wins, little wins along the way. Little wins along the way. So when it comes time to the end, it's not a question that you're going to win because you've been winning the entire time. Like a basketball game. If you scored every quarter, if you're scoring points the entire time, even though the other team is scoring, if you're scoring more, you're going to win the game. And in life, you're not competing with anyone else, you're competing with yourself. So the key is, how do I get better? How do I get better? What am I after? And most people, if they knew what they wanted, They could get it, but they don't know. They don't know what they want. And so some of the things we do, we help people with dreams. We help people with their vision. And we sort of show them how to map it out, make it simple, and walk it out.
And you know what? Having a trainer, it can teach you the right questions to ask.
Yes.
Because many times as entrepreneurs or as a regular person that's working 9 to 5 that just want some sustainability in the future for their family, you just don't know what to ask.
Yes.
And so having somebody that is not emotionally attached, because I never thought about money being an emotional attachment, but it is just like food. So eye-opening, because I never really thought about it. And so when you bring someone in like you who don't have that emotional attachment to it, but that can give you the training, explain why, and make it simple, so that the person who's asking for the help, like they're less than they feel dumb. Because one thing people like, don't make me feel dumb, even though I don't know, don't take away my intelligence that I do have. So the fact that you can make it really simple and then be able to have those small wins to build that confidence that you already know, okay, I just need to keep going. By faith. Keep going by faith. So when I think about all the different things that you do, your leadership, your impact, your educational background, how you had to take that leap of faith, I hear and I see that you are a strong man of faith to do some of the things that you did, and to do it on the time stamp that you did it right before you get married and all this other stuff, and seeing everything work out 30 plus years later, still doing it, still thriving. But dealing with the community, community involvement, because you make sure that even though you are a family man, you are an entrepreneur and business person, you make sure that you still give back to the community. Why is that so important, and why do you take the time to build the initiative of the men's ministry or the men's fraternity? You know, and you put a lot of effort in it. So why did you decide to take the time to do that?
Well, God didn't bless me for me. That just doesn't make sense. If God bless you and you go in a corner and you just jump up and down and congratulate yourself, He wasted His time, and He doesn't make mistakes. So therefore, there are others that if someone didn't help me, then if I don't help someone else, does that make sense? Then they're stuck where they are. And they're good people, a lot of good people, but they just don't know which way to go or who to trust. And so what you have to do is build an environment of leadership development. That's what we did. To where you can come in and we're going to teach you how to be a leader. Because you're going to lead. You weren't trained to lead. And we got to walk you through that confidence building that you are a leader. You know? And then it gets to the point to where to learn about finances. Well, math. Most of us, when we came through school, math was not your favorite subject. Well, there's a reason. But math is numbers. So if you don't like math, you don't like numbers, you don't have financial trouble. I know, it's simple. Also, problem solving. When you understand what math really is and you learn to solve problems, money is a reward for helping people solve problems. So the more problems you can help people solve, especially those problems that are important, the more money you would make. But then I don't make the money for me, right? If He increases your money, it's not to increase your spirit, but to increase your giving. And money is time is money. So what ends up happening is, to whom much is given, much is required. So yes, you may make a lot of money. But the key is to take the time that you have and use that to help others do what you've done, so that more can be out there helping others do what you've done. That sort of makes sense?
Yeah, because it makes the world a better place, just like the song.
Because everybody is here to relate to someone else. But when you get in a survival mode, you're saying, the heck with everybody else, I got to go get it myself, and that's exactly what the devil wants you to do. He wants you to isolate yourself away and go get it yourself, and then you think you got it yourself. You must have forgotten that God put everything in place so that we help each other. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes perfect sense, and I love the way that you break it down, especially bringing it home to math, if you don't like math, and what that really means. And so it took me being an adult that I really started liking math. And that was only after I started teaching my kids math for homeschooling, because I was like, okay, I have to get this together.
Yes.
And I would have never thought in a million years that I would have become a math tutor.
Wow.
Because I hated math with a passion, right? Bad experiences with school, but then I came to love it. And you're right, it's just a simple process of solving problems and understanding how the number and numbers. Numbers don't lie. Numbers say it's consecutive. You can, once you understand the sync of them, it has a rhythm, and you can keep it going. So
can I say something?
Sure.
If the devil came to kill, steal, and destroy, if we don't like math, problem solving, and numbers, it's not us that he's after, it's our assignment. You can't walk out and complete your assignment. Somewhere it says, if you can't handle money, how you gonna handle the real wealth, which is people's lives? That's scriptural. If you can't handle mammoth, if you can't handle money, earthly stuff, how you gonna handle people's real lives? Because of stewardship. And God created money. He's the source, we're the resource, and we're supposed to use it to build. He knew people were going to have money trouble. So 1,000 scriptures that deal with money and money issues and possessions and stewardship. So I've got to get better in order to be the right type of person I'm supposed to be. And he's going to bless me because he said that. To whom much is given, much is required. And if you're faithful with a little, he'll give you more.
Exactly. So I love how you broke all of that down. And so for all my kids and parents out there who don't like math, I'm looking at you, I'm talking to you. Start changing your mindset now and understand that you can do it, you are capable. And once you start seeing that, you start loving it. And then you understand how it goes. Now, I love math. All right, because I understand and things are like, woo! I'm like, why didn't I see this years ago? But I'm so grateful that I can see it now. And so it's very impressive, everything that you're doing, and we're hearing all the successes that you have had and that you will continue to have, because you understand the operation of how God flows and how money flows. But every entrepreneur at some point, they run through a challenge or something that they didn't think was gonna happen, even when things was going well, something, because the enemy just don't like to see God's work going on, right? And so, have you ever faced any type of challenge?
What? To be successful, you have to fail. But failure is not final. Only when you quit is it final. Success does not go this way and failure goes that way. Success goes this way and failure goes this way. You fail, you get back up. That's what makes you successful. You lost and then you win. When is a win a loss? When you learn from it. How many players have lost a game and the rest of the team went in the locker room, but they stayed on the court and watched the other team celebrate? And watching this, they're going, this will never ever happen again. And that's what it's about. When is a loss a win? When you make the adjustment and you move forward from that. So yes, financial trouble, people quitting, changing, doubting yourself every now and then, another challenge. Life is, that's what life is. You have a plan and life will always come up between you and your plan. But you have to know you're ready for it. You know, what you think is a problem, God is smiling. And this is what he says to me. I've already given you what you need. Find it and use it. In other words, when things happen, most people look at what they need. Well, we should focus on our seed, not your need. He's already given you the seed to grow to solve the problem. You want the problem solved, you know. You want the problem solved, you know. It doesn't happen that way. You've got to go through a period of time to get that problem solved, and he wants you to inventory the seeds that you have. Communication. We talked about it earlier, how we grew up in a different world, in a race. There's so many things that allow you to be prepared and ready. for this time. You have to go back on it and say, that's why you did it. And now I know I'm ready. Now I just got to go back and pull what he's brought me through. Be thankful. And now use that to go to the next level.
That's true. That is so true because all entrepreneurs, so that's why I want the audience to understand that we all gonna have, it's part of the process.
Yes.
You can't have one without the other. And the point is we don't give up. We keep going, we keep thriving, and we keep continuously finding the solution to the problem. But like you said, we have the seeds within us. We just have to keep working at it.
Can I say one more thing?
You can say
I want to use this because today was a day we talked about the Sabbath.
Mm-hmm.
And even God created the Sabbath for animals and for land. You know, you plant for 6 years and in the 7th year, you don't plant. But what he gave you is a bumper crop in the 6th year to carry you through the 7th year. And by not planting that 7th year, you allow the ground to rejuvenate and get stronger. So when you came to plant the 8th year, it was richer and it was deeper. If you think about life, COVID, as much as you hate it and we lost people and things happen, God's gonna do what he's gotta do to heal the earth. And when that happened, the earth got stronger. Because people were not running, they were not greedy, they had to slow up, they spent time with family. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And you rejuvenated. And I say that because bad times, it happened with Joseph. During the good times, you gotta store up. Because bad times, there's no question. Bad times are coming. People think that no, we have good months and bad months. But when you have a good month, you don't spend it all. You have to learn how to store and put it up. And so he sends us these bumper crops. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. In entrepreneurship, you might not make as much as you want every month. But on the 3rd month, you may be blessed with, we blessed with 4 or 5 times what you normally make. Right? And then 2 more months, it may just be average. And then another month, you have to learn how to take what he's blessed you with and store it for bad times. And that's how you get through it.
Yeah, that's that bumper crop.
Yeah.
Use that bumper crop analogy. And so right now we're speaking a lot. You remind me so much of the Bible where it talks about how Jesus spoke in parables. Without speaking in illustration, he will not speak to the people.
Yes.
And so that's what I love about how you speak about finances. Something that is you think is too complex. You have a unique gift of making it very simple. Very, very simple. So when I think about your role as an ordained Baptist deacon,
mm-hmm.
how has your faith, we hear you talking about it, how has your faith and value system played and influenced in the way that you make decisions as an entrepreneur? Put your faith to the side when you're doing your business, or do they go together? How do you maneuver that?
Our priorities in my life and my family is faith comes first. God comes first. Then comes your family, and then comes your finances. And we keep that in that order. That doesn't mean that I don't spend time with my family or spend time in the business. And a lot of people say, well, where's God? God is in it all. I wouldn't have any of it if it wasn't for him. But my business kicked off when my wife joined me in business, because it shows unity. It is called equally yoked. We don't do the same things with 2 totally different people, but we learn how to work together. It was rough at times, but you learn how to work together because what I do is not what she does, and what she loves to do is not what I love to do. So the key is to get together and figure out the roles and how we're going to play it, and that's what we were able to do to get the business. So faith, family, and finances.
Speaking of relationships,
yes.
since you brought it up, let's dive a little bit more into it, because when you look at different people who talk about entrepreneurship and they talk about the journey, there are some people that say that being in a relationship, entrepreneurship is the depth of a relationship. And then some people, they say, no, it's not the entrepreneurship is not the depth of a relationship. With 36 years of marriage,
Yes.
being in business for 30 plus years,
Yes.
what is your observation, your real life experience with this. Do you feel that the theory or what they saying is true?
All right, listen, Linda, listen. Money makes you more of what you already are. If you had planned on leaving your wife, when you make more money, you leave. You going to Vegas, you leave it. It doesn't change your decision. It just speeds it up. It's important that you come together and you grow together. If we're both here, and I'm the entrepreneur and I grow here, that's not the same conversation that we were having here. And if you didn't help me grow there, but you talked about me the whole time I was trying to grow there, you got to be a strong person to give back. So what ends up happening, we don't grow apart, we grow together. So I'm going to share with everybody else, but I got to share with my wife. I got to share with her what I'm sharing with everybody else. She travels with us. We were home. She became my business partner. She saw things I didn't see, and saved our business and our marriage plenty of times. Because I'm looking, I'm zeroing in, and she's looking at the details around and saying, "Hey, this don't look right." I say, and then finally it's like, okay, that don't look right. And so listen to your partners, but don't leave your partners. You want to grow and grow together. Otherwise, you're in two different worlds. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense, and I can concur with you. I don't feel that being an entrepreneur, because I don't have 36 years yet, but me and my husband and I are 22 years.
Congratulations.
And yeah, I'm proud of it.
Yeah,
Because I'm grateful to God
Yes.
for it. And so it is true. And my husband, we're business partners, and he, just like your wife, he sees things that I don't see.
Right.
Because I'm laser focused on whatever it is that I'm doing it. I'm keeping my eye on the target, eye on the prize, and he sees all the things that's on the side of the road and all the holes on the street, the pitfalls. Yeah. He sees them, oh, move with caution. And I'm like, what? No, you go fast. No, slow down, So I really see that. But the key is that you gave a good tip, because you do hear about people breaking up, but they start working apart. They start drifting, and you gave that analogy or that example of you're here and they're there. You're not having the same conversation.
Right. And
so you need to make sure that as you are growing as an entrepreneur, you need to bring them along so they can understand, because it's a whole different language.
Totally.
It's a whole different conversation when you're an entrepreneur.
Yes.
And you need to teach them that new language, that new mindset, because you're no longer the person they married.
Right.
If you start entrepreneurship after you get married, you're no longer that person.
Right.
So you have to reintroduce yourself, because now you're renewed.
Yes.
But you don't want to leave them. And so the fact that you took the time, and now you're doing two different things, because my husband and I do two different things in this industry, but we learn how to make it work. Mm-hmm. And I compliment him, he compliments me on how I do things. And so it goes back to that threefold cord. You, your mate, and God, the Holy Spirit. So I tell people, it's only 3 people in our marriage. So you trying to get into this, it's only 3. My husband, myself, and God. That's it. We don't need anybody else in our little situation, And so I hear that with you. So that's a great tip. So FYI, entrepreneurship, don't break up your marriage unless you allow it to. You have to make that decision. So when we're talking about, let's talk about sustainability, because the economy has changed dramatically.
Yes.
We're shifting into a new time in history.
Yes.
Where it's no manual, no instruction book. It's almost feel like you living out Star Trek. Everything you're typing, the phones and all that. You're like, wait a minute, they were trying to tell us we was gonna have all these computers and AIs and all this stuff like 40, 50 years ago. So in the financial realm, where money is not always paper now, we're having digital. How are you using that to leverage? And how is it, how should I say it? is it benefit? You see the benefits in the new digital currency, and how are you helping people in the financial realm to be able to not be afraid of things transitioning? We're gonna still use money, paper money, gold, silver, but do you have other things that you're helping them to see? Because it's nerve-wracking to see, for the older generation, to see everything going digital.
But in life, there are changes, but it rolls back around. It's seasons.
Mm-hmm.
You're going through seasons, and you have to make the adjustment to get through the season, but many times it returns back. So the key is to just know that it's in God's hands. And don't try to get rich quick, because that's not scriptural. So it's steady plodding. It's still time and consistency, because the time and consistency is what builds the confidence, the strength, and the faith. You know, we go from glory to glory. We go from faith to faith. And you can't do that if you're trying to jump over the mountain. You got to learn how to move it, and we got to pray. So you talked about what happened with my wife. Praying together allows you to stay together, because prayer changes things. And what ends up happening, and many times we don't do that because it depends on your life. Many times the women might have been stronger, faith-wise, because we were working and they were praying. And so the man can feel intimidated sometimes about praying because his wife prays better than he does, if you will. Communicates better than he does. So what she has to do is allow him to pray. You know, it's time to pray for food. Let him pray. It's time to pray for blessing to travel. Let him pray. It's time to pray at night. It's time to have a situation. And then if she prays and he prays, you pray together. I don't know why some people think you got to do the whole prayer. You know, you can pray a little bit, and I can pray what I inside of this prayer, and then we can come back and close it out. So you do things together, and it keeps. And then your children see that. Daddy praying, Daddy going to church. You know, there's a whole story behind if Dad gets saved first, that the majority of the family will always go to church and be saved.
That's true.
And so there's some stories behind the leadership that has to take place, even though the female might have been in the past, Big Mom, she was a prayer mom. We wouldn't feel. So there's a reason why there's supposed to be a separation, because if you ever want to kill a race, if you ever want to mess up the roles. Change the roles, and you can change society.
You go back in history and see what happened with us as a whole in the 70s when started taking black fathers out of the home.
Yeah.
With the different rules.
Yeah.
And right now we're still feeling the blunt as a whole. I personally, my father and mother, blessed to have them still together. And I grew up with my father and mother, but that is not the
norm.
No, that's not the norm. And so as a whole, we can see what's going on with our children as a whole, what's going on with women and boys and the roles, and we can just see it. So
confusion.
It's a lot.
Well, with absentee fathers, then how will the son learn how to be a man? He can't. He's learning from a woman. And not saying that's a bad idea, because many women have done an awesome job. But remember, the devil's not after him, he's after his assignment. Exactly. He had an assignment. If I can mess him up and mess up his thinking and mess up his mind, his assignment will be, and God will find somebody else to do it. Mm-hmm. But my son was supposed to do that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
My daughter was supposed to do that. So they got to see that. They got to see that operation inside the house, the order of how God intended the family to be.
And that's the structure when you think about how we maneuver finance as a whole. It is from the construction of how we saw it done in the family. Ooh. Our money issues is the root of how we was brought up. Now you saying ooh, so what are you oohing? Because I want to know what you're thinking.
No, you're right. If our parents were survivors, they taught you how to survive.
Exactly.
They couldn't teach you how to thrive. Work ethic, and we started talking about that. Well, here's what we were taught. We were taught to be employees. Employees follow instructions and keep your mouth closed, because you're afraid to get fired. So you don't say nothing to do something you ain't supposed to do unless you that employee that ain't gonna be that long. And there's two ways of it. They're gonna fire you, or you're gonna max out. You're gonna realize this charge too small to keep you. You're hitting the ceiling and you got to go somewhere else. But reality is, most of us were taught to be laborers. Slavery is physical labor. We take pride in working hard. Well, if you go back and ask people, they're not talking about mental work. They're talking about physical work. So here was the transition with me. I had worked physically hard and saw where it got me. And I said, this ain't working, right? So why are they making more money? Mental money is more than physical money.
That part.
Yeah. Physical money is labor. Okay, work ethic was not an issue with me. You don't scare me or intimidate me about that. Work ethic wasn't my issue. Once I maxed and got an A, I said, Lord, what's next? And it's mental money. In other words, instead of using your body, start using your mind now. Oh, if you use your mind, you'll make more money because most people are mentally lazy. They don't want to, because you were trained. Follow instructions. You ain't got to think. Follow instructions. The one that's thinking became an entrepreneur. The one that's thinking had his own business. Because he said, you're not going to tell me not to think. I got some ideas. And many people gave their whole lives to the company they worked for. And the company took all the ideas. What's his business is like? The company took all the ideas. And the company became wealthy. And then discarded the person after a certain age.
And bye-bye.
Yeah. When they actually could have worked on a job and started their own business. This is what we encourage. See, whoever receives the profits from a slave is going to be wealthy. Go to the plantation owners. Sun up, the sun down. If you're going to work the sun up, the sun down, and I'm receiving the profits, I'm going to be wealthy. So when they killed slavery, they put you on a job and cut it to 8 hours. You can't be wealthy working 8 hours. It's sun up to sun down. So what you were supposed to do after you worked in their plantation, it hadn't changed. Then after you got off, you should have went and put 4 hours into your garden to make sure you're building your plantation. But instead, ooh, I'm tired. Ooh, this is my day off. Or you're going to be working for the rest of your life for somebody else. But our mom and dad, great-grandparents, they worked from sun up to sun down. And the plantation owners became wealthy because of their labor. If that's the case, why don't you get it? You can work half a day. That's 12 hours. They don't kill you. But 8 hours, I'm done. You broke. You just made enough to pay some of your bills some of the time. And to pay your tax. You broke. And then you got to go to work to do it again. And you do it for 40 years. The only people that did something for 40 years in the Bible were the Israelites. And they were lost.
Yep, they were. So when you think about all of that what you just said was powerful, and that is going to hit the heartstrings of many people, because to hear it, we kind of knew it, because you know how sometimes you know stuff,
yeah.
But it's different when you hear somebody put the words to it. You're like,
you know you should be doing more.
Yeah.
You know you don't make enough doing what you're doing. How you going to just sit there and just go to work the next day like you got the same job?
And then you
got the same job. You got the same job next year. You worked a whole year and didn't get a raise. Tell me how that works. You worked a whole year and everything went up and you didn't get a raise. And you signed up for another year. And you don't think that's slavery?
Yes. The
only difference is that when they sold slaves, you had slavery papers. They said, this is Lee, and they read off who he was, and how much you gonna give me, how much you gonna. You walk in today with your own slavery papers. It's your resume. And you said, here I be, what you think, how much you give. And the bargain starts. And then after a year, you bargain again. At some point, for you that are ready, you've got to say, I'm worth more than that. And you don't stop mastering what you're doing. You don't stop doing what you're doing. You do that and you do more. Does that make sense?
You do that and then you do more. Meaning, we're not telling you to quit your job.
No.
We're telling you to work your job,
yes.
And then you come home and
yes.
work those 4 hours on your future.
There you go.
You work down your future. Because the economy, how it is now, You need to keep your job. Not unless you have so much money saved up that you can live off of it. Most people don't have that.
Yes.
So you need to work your job, but then come home and not Netflix and chill. You need to do the work on your building up your legacy. And if you don't know the information, you need to get with people who can help you and train you. So speaking about this building of wealth, it becomes very elusive to most people. It seems like a fantasy world, some kind of Marvels movie, like we love Wakanda forever. The movie, seeing all that wealth and black power, but really,
Yes.
how do we get real people
Yes.
to they Wakanda?
Okay. Most people are visual,
Mm-hmm.
which means they've got to see it.
Yeah, they do.
Hearing it, man, I ain't heard a word you said. They've got to see it because they're visual. So you have to be able to show them what we're talking about. And so for example, if I ask you, when you retire, how much income would you like to have every month to be able to pay your bills and also your life? If you told me $5,000 a month, then you add 2 zeros, then you're going to need about $500,000 in your account before you retire. You should only work max 20 years for somebody else. You're working for money, and then money starts working for you. In other words, I see where I'm going. I'm 18. By the time I'm 38, I should have enough money invested and saved to where the return off of my money pays me my salary. So now I'm working for money, but now my money's working for me, so I can choose to do whatever I want to do. I can get another job, I can stay on the job, but I'm not working for money anymore. You don't have control over my life anymore. I'm doing it because I love to do it. First, I have to do it. Because I'm making a salary that I talked about 20 years ago, and I spoke it into existence, and now it's happening. It's not an accident. It's intentional. It's by design. And since other people understood math, they mathed it out. They mathed it out.
So when I think about, let's go back to, we talked about the who, the what, the when, the why, the where, and we're talking about getting more depth into how they're doing that. And you gave a good strategy.
Yes.
If you have an 18-year-old,
Yeah.
and by the time they get 38, you work 20 years.
Yes.
Your money, you're working for the money at that point.
That's right.
And then 38, mentally, still a young man, still a young woman, now you have the financial freedom.
Yes.
You don't have the mindset of struggle.
Right.
Because now you don't have to work.
Yes.
You work because you want to work if you choose to do so. And then you have the leverage to be able to make your money start working for you.
Yes.
So people who are not familiar with that terminology, what is something simple to explain how money works for you?
Okay, military.
Mm-hmm.
Don't they put in 20 years?
Yeah.
And then don't they retire?
Teachers too.
Thank you. see, the system was already there. Just people didn't understand what they were saying. Unfortunately, if you're a teacher or maybe in the military, you might not make enough
You don't.
doing that. So your retirement for most people that are going to be okay includes disability. They got something else going on outside of just getting a piece of your money. That's because you should never depend on a company for your retirement. No.
That's a different concept for the general population.
No, that's not their job.
Mm-hmm.
Their job is to make a profit doing what you're doing for them. Their job ain't to take care of your finances and your money. That's a financial expert job. And so my job is to show people you should have your retirement on your job and you should have your retirement outside your job. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
So if you need to have that $500,000, you might have had $250,000 on your job, but you got $250,000 outside your job. And chances are the $250,000 that we can do outside your job will probably be more than the $250,000 on your job, because the rate of return can be higher. They've got to be conservative on the job. They lose your money, you're mad, aren't you?
Yeah.
All right, so that's conservative. So they're not making aggressive investments. But you need that based on what you're talking about doing in 20 years. You can't be in the slow lane. You can't be in the emergency lane.
So I can't go in the right lane. I got to be in the left, the fast lane. Zoom, zoom.
You got to be passing people. Otherwise, you're going to be just like everybody else. And I'm not comparing yourself with them, but you told me 20 years. You told me you wanted to be there at 38. Now, we can go to 48 or 58. That's your choice. That's a different speed.
Okay.
So if you're ready to get it done, and I just looked and I said, I want to enjoy my life.
Exactly.
So let me go ahead and I work it. Let me go ahead and get it done, get it out the way, so we can have the time. Most people want money, but they don't realize money without the time, you don't have the health, or you don't have the time, the money does you no good. So what you really want is money and time to enjoy.
So with your financial agency, you help people to retire financially secure.
Yes.
And to leave something not only for them to be financially secure, but most importantly, leave something for the generations behind.
Right. Yes.
Now, when I think about that,
Uh-huh.
how, and you can't go into deep, complex things,
Okay.
but how do one even start? Do you need like an enormous income to start?
No.
I mean, do we need thousands of dollars
No.
to start this portfolio?
No, $25 a month.
McDonald's costs that.
$25 a month. Some companies may ask for $50 a month. That's it. What you put in a savings account, Christmas club account, you're going to put into an investment. A saving is not an investment. It's two different things.
What's the difference?
Saving money means I'm putting the money away, and when I come back, I expect to get it. That makes sense?
Yeah.
And I expect for it to still be there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Investing is when I take a kernel of corn and I plant it in the ground. When I come back, I don't expect to get a kernel of corn. I expect to have a stalk. And that stalk's gonna have what? Three ears of corn on it. Well, each ear of corn has about 500 kernels. So I planted one kernel and got 1,500. That's investments. That's where the compound interest comes in. And that's what others have been doing forever, and we were saving money in a bank. The bank has a purpose. When you put money in a bank, what do they give you? What kind of candy they give you? Suckers? Why do you think they give you suckers?
Oh,
What do you think the bank's doing with your money?
they invested it.
Thank you.
You can't even
So
go.
it's their name on the money.
Yeah.
Which, couldn't you have a savings account and then have an investment account?
Yes, you could. Oh, see, now why don't teach us this in school?
Because if you did that, you'd be wealthy.
Oh,
And
wow.
that changes things. You change the economy if that happens.
Because a lot of people doing the right thing at the same time.
It messes up the economy. The economy depends on laborers. It depends on people that are working all their lives, their best years of their lives, that 40 years, 25, putting it into somebody else.
Wow.
It messes up the economy if everybody became entrepreneurs.
So, wow. So let's just think about this.
Yes.
You help people retire financially secure and
Okay.
build generational wealth.
Yes.
But you also help touch a topic that most of us don't like to talk about, which is death.
Okay.
We don't like to think about premature death. So what is that facet of what you do with your financial agency that brings us to that place emotionally to deal with it,
Yeah.
so that our family won't have to be doing no GoFundMe's and asking, can we get a loan so we can bury Uncle such and such and such and such,
Yes.
which is common.
Sure.
So what made you decide to add that element into your what you're doing? Because it's necessary.
Yes.
So what made you do that?
My father died when I was in high school, 11th grade. And my dad had a policy for $10,000. Well, my mom buried him with $4,000, $6,000 was left. In 2 months, the $6,000 was gone. There's 4 children in the family. So what is mom supposed to do now? My dad worked in the mill, my mom worked in the mill. Now that my dad's income is gone, what is my mom supposed to do with 4 children? Who can answer that question? Well, she had to go get another job. But then she worked in a cotton mill. She had 2 jobs in a cotton mill. Worked from 3 to 11 and went to another job from 12 to 8. The doctor said, you got to stop because that's going to kill you. So then the next option was another husband. And guess what? That almost killed the 2, okay? So we had to get rid of him, right? Stepdad, right? But it just didn't make sense. So then my brother dropped out of high school and gets a job in a mill trying to make ends meet. All of this because my dad had a what? A $10,000 policy? He had a whole life policy. He had a cash value policy. Yeah, well, it's burial insurance. Black people didn't buy life insurance. They thought they were buying life insurance. You're buying burial insurance. Burial insurance is for you to be buried with. Life insurance means it's enough money for the rest of the family. The wife and the children forever. And you're supposed to leave an inheritance, not for your children, but for your children's children. So you were supposed to put enough away where the children can't run through it. That's where the prodigal son came from. He came back. He had more than enough. Why? Because he knew. You give somebody money that don't have money, what you think they're going to do with it? They don't understand. They're going to run through it. So you got to set it up in a trust or whatever you have a will. You got to put things together to where they can't mess up the money, but they're going to live off the interest.
That's powerful.
So we believe in income protection. Not life insurance. Next level. Protect his income. If something happened to your husband, you still need his what?
Income.
So don't talk to me about no 10, 15,000. What are we talking about? Ain't about you got 250,000. Oh, we don't have a problem burying him? So don't talk to me about that. Talk to me about the end. How do you want this thing to turn out? You paying for money. You want to pay 10,000? Or you want to pay 250,000? Well, 250,000 will cost me a lot. We spend $30, $40 a month for 250,000. What are you talking about? Mm-hmm. But they don't understand. Exactly. So we break it down and explain the difference of how insurance works. We got it. And then once they understand, they make a wise decision. Not based on what the agents say, but what makes sense to them. They need income protection. His income needs to be protected, your income needs to be protected. That's not burial insurance. That's another level. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's really put the secret sauce onto what legacy really is.
Yeah.
Because now you're thriving, not surviving.
Yeah.
Because most families, they're not preparing for premature death. And frankly, they don't even want to talk about it. And then they're underinsured. They don't have enough. They can't even cover the mortgage. They can't cover the car. They can't cover food. They can't cover unexpected sickness.
Ooh. Why they don't want to talk about it? Because there's lack of money. It's fights. You come to the house, it's 5 children, big mama die, and then, okay, what you got? You know, send all the children outside to play. This is normal.
Yeah.
And then the grown-ups have a conversation. And you're talking about money.
Exactly.
That you don't have.
Exactly.
And now you need to bury mama with 10,000, and you're going around the room. You need 2,000, and all of a sudden, the married couple that might be doing okay, might be sitting there, they say, oh, sis, you got me, sis? And husband look at you like, no. And then they say, you ain't even part of the family. You this ain't your mom, come on. And then all of a sudden, get the children. And y'all walk. And you never speak again for 20 and 30 years because somebody had burial insurance instead of income protection. But now we got income protection. It's $1 million worth of coverage. It's 5 children. Divided by 5, that's $200,000 a piece. You think they're going to come in here with an attitude. We ain't talking about what you got. No, we're reading the will.
Saying what you're going to get.
You're going to have to dress up to come and get your money from the will. You're going to have to look presentable. You're going to have to act right because there's somebody over that that's monitoring you supposed to do what you're supposed to do. You ain't mad. Dad died. That's emotional. You're going to miss him emotionally. You're going to miss him physically. You're going to miss him spiritually and everything else. But financially, you shouldn't miss him. He prepared for this. The Bible said, go get your house in what? Order. Then get your house in order and stop acting like somebody's supposed to do this. Go find me. Go find yourself.
Exactly. So we heard the scenario. You gave us tips and strategies for someone that's 18 to 38. Yeah. Okay, so someone that's watching this video, they may be in their 40s, their 50s. Do they still have a chance?
Yes. Years and years. 45 to 65.
Do the 40, the 50, and the 60 still have a chance? They have
a better chance. Really? Because you got money in your 401k plan. True. You've got money in your retirement plan. So you've already got a start. Now it's just a matter of increasing that. And chances are, if your children are gone, you can now save more money.
Okay, so the youngins, and now the older ones, or some people like say seasoned, we have a chance as well, because I was like, what about the young people? What about the ones 40, 50, 60, they feel like we need a chance too, because we just hear this for the first time. Yes, ma'am, I got you. They have a better chance, but at the same time, let's not be selfish. Mm-hmm. You still have an assignment from God to leave an inheritance for your children's children. Mm-hmm. So if you left $250,000 worth of coverage, $250,000. Yeah, $250,000. And then you had $250,000 in your what? Investment. Mm-hmm. So then they also, you didn't spend that when you were living off the interest. They got that as well. And then you had a home, didn't you? Mm-hmm. So there's $250,000 from the home.
and then you had a business. And the business was making about $20,000-$25,000 a month. Otherwise, why you starting a business? If you're gonna make $5,000-$6,000, keep your job. You're starting a business to be able to accumulate. You want to be fruitful and then what? Multiply. So the multiplying is about $20,000-$25,000 a month. That's another $250,000. So $250,000 from income protection, $250,000 from real estate, $250,000 from your investment, and $250,000 from your business. You just died, and your children just became a millionaire the next day. You working to try to get $1 million, you died, but you set your family up. Well, they became millionaires the very next day. And it's structured to where they can't run through the money. They can only live off the what?
You guys, you better tell God thank you for this interview. That He just dropped the mic and gave you some blessing. Cause all ages can benefit from this, okay? And so, what legacy? Lord, I can't even compose myself. What legacy do you hope to leave behind? Because you're sharing all this your knowledge. I know you implemented this with your family first.
Yes.
But also you have people that's up under you with your agency, financial agency.
Yes.
So what do and you have the ministry work.
Yes.
And the community work.
Yes.
So what else does Lee want to leave behind as his legacy?
I'm good. I mean, I to be honest with you, I have peace.
Yeah.
I'm not finished because he's not finished with me. But I have peace. And people always say, what are you doing next? I said, next? I mean, who quits their business and go, what are you going to go do? I mean, now I'm with a company that will buy the business back for me. So whatever you're making, they will give you 8 to 10 times that. Like a McDonald's, you can sell it back, or you can pass it on to my wife. I can pass it on to my children. It's not a gimme, let me just make some money. It's a business. It's a legal business that you can pass on to the next generation, or we can sell it back to the company. You see what I'm saying? That's why I got involved with it, to where they will pay me 10 times what I was making, and then I can use that and set up legacy for the next generation. But my wife and my children, they're all licensed and a part of the business as well. They understand it. They all are not doing it because I want them to follow their own dreams. But when it comes time to unite and bring the family back together, we're going to be on the same accord doing the same thing.
All right, that's powerful. And what I heard you said is peace.
Yes.
I put a post out and I said, peace is priceless. Peace. And only a select few understand those 3 little words. Peace is priceless. And when you have peace, there's no amount of money that can, and they're like, Tina, how do you feel? I said, I'm at peace.
Yes.
When you're at peace, that's a gift. And He's gonna help you. Don't have peace. The financial, He'll help you get that way. So when we think about the entrepreneurs and the business owners that's watching the show today, because you are a 6-figure owner, that God bless you because you was a good steward of your gifts and being able to manage and multiply, and most importantly, being able to wrap around and being able to help others to understand, to not be afraid, walk by faith, and also make good decisions with money that's not emotional.
Right.
So what advice would you give aspiring entrepreneurs or business owners that may want to go into entrepreneurship? They may already be in entrepreneurship, and they may be having financial, I say the money, the little challenges, you know. What would you tell them to do? My name is Williams, and I'm a brokeraholic. No matter how hard I work, I seem to keep coming up with confession. Just admit, everybody knows it. You just acting like you don't think nobody. Everybody knows you're struggling. The bottom line is this: you're not meant to do everything. Okay, I'm a great cook. I want to open up a restaurant. Okay, who's your hostess? Who's managing the restaurant? Who's running the money? See, if you're going to be doing it all, you ain't going to be cooking. So the key is to understand the E myth, the entrepreneurship myth. You're thinking that you're going to be doing everything. That makes no sense. What you have to do is get in a circle.
find some people that do what it is you don't do, and you pay them to do that. So guess what? I have to make more money now because I got to pay someone else to cut my grass. I have to make more money now if I'm gonna pay someone else to wash my car. I have so what happens if you pray about it? He will increase, and then you can bless others. So by employing other people, how you liking that? Well, you need to cut your own grass. You need to shut up. I cut grass growing up. I washed dishes growing up. I did all of that. Done. Check mark. Not trying to impress anybody else with that. There's someone else that loves to do that and can do it better than I can. I want to bless them. Let me bless them. I want to bless you today. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. So thank you so much, Ali, for allowing us to sit down with you and have this heart-to-heart conversation about finances, also sharing with us a little bit about your life and the ups and downs that are common as part of being a successful entrepreneur. Also diving a little bit into your personal life, dealing with, is it really true? Do entrepreneurs break up marriages? And you really explaining as a person in a relationship how your mindset need to be.
Yes.
So before we close out, is there any book that you would recommend someone need to read that's not a hard reading book or quote or anything?
Well, you know, in my business, we got this book called Books of Appointments. Whatever business you, business is about people and people, numbers and people. You have to set your numbers. You have to find the people. Your marketing. This is your mark. You've got to book people to do business with you. And most people waiting on someone to call them, they're not calling. They're not gonna knock on your door and say, hey, no, you've got to go find them. So this is what I say to you. When you're doing something, don't think God sent you to the store to get a loaf of bread. You cannot think God sent you to the store to get a loaf of bread. No, you're gonna meet somebody in the parking lot, in the store, the cash register. They need what you have and you need what they have at all times. You got to be thinking, how can I help you? How can I make you feel good? How can I bless you? And then in turn, the blessing comes back. So always, everywhere you go, there is someone 3 feet away from you that needs what you have, but you haven't said anything, so they can't help you. We got to talk. We have to communicate.
Love it. And it's taking us back. This interview started with you talking about your background with your BA in communication and TV broadcasting, and we are ending it with communication. So if you didn't get anything else, financial and communication, and learning to open your mouth. So I think that this is a good way for us to end this conversation. Make sure to check Lee out. We're going to have information in the description of this video where you can click to find out more, where he's going to send you where he wants you to go in order for you to learn more about his financial agency and be able to break things down for you with his agency. Is there anything else you would like to say?
No, I'm just blessed, and I thank you for the opportunity to share, and I pray that the Holy Spirit has already gone before us and opened up some hearts and minds and say this time. You're sick and tired of being sick and tired. It's time to change. This is your year. Let's go do it.
Love it, love it, love it. And I want to make mention of our sponsor for this episode, which is Anna L. Brothers from the Jazzy Jewel Collection. As you can see, if you want to be dazzled and look your best and to impress, honey, go to Jazzy Jewels Collection. As you can see, I'm wearing the jewelry right now. Our show is really supported by amazing entrepreneurs and business owners just like you who want to see our show thrive and grow. So thank you, Anna L. Brothers, for being this episode's sponsor. You can get in contact with her at 708-903-1082. That is Anna L. Brothers on all social media platforms, and her website is thejazzyjewelscollection.com. Thank you for being this episode's sponsor of the Tina Ramsey Show. Lee, thank you. It was my pleasure. You guys, you know what I always say. If no one told you today that you matter, that you are worthy and that you are valued. I'm here to tell you that I love you, I value you, and I want to say goodbye until the next time. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. Because remember, it's time for you to come share, shine, and grow. What? On the Tina Randall Show. See you next time. Bye.
Awesome.